Netflix's The Electric State might look like another big-budget adventure, but beneath the robots and road trips, it's hiding something deeper. A message about where we're headed, and why it might already be too late to turn back. Let's break down the chilling truth behind the film and what it says about our future. A road trip through ruins. Imagine a road trip through a crumbling America, not one filled with quirky roadside attractions and greasy diners, but a landscape haunted by the creepy remnants of a long-forgotten war. That's the world of The Electric State, a slow, haunting journey told through the eyes of a quiet, reserved teenager. Every moment of the story drips with bleakness, pulling readers into an unsettling dystopia. Towering, ominous structures slice through the mist like relics from a retro-futuristic fever dream. People are no longer fully human. Most are lost in virtual worlds, their physical forms abandoned like lifeless puppets. The entire book exists in a permanent state of misty blue twilight, except for rare moments of unsettling daylight, where the landscape reveals vast, dusty wastelands. And then there are the creatures, massive Frankenstein-like beings, cobbled together from technological scraps and fragments of human consciousness. The world is a fusion of science fiction and nightmare, creating an atmosphere both haunting and deeply lonely. At the heart of The Electric State is isolation. Other characters drift in and out, mostly in flashbacks. But at its core, the story follows a girl and her silent robot companion traveling through a world that feels like it has already given up. Their journey feels strangely detached from the horrors around them, as though they are passing through the ruins of something long dead. Yet their mission, its full meaning only revealed at the end, holds a weight that transcends the apocalyptic wreckage. This isn't just a dystopian narrative. It's a story that mourns lost humanity while exploring deeply personal themes: isolation, queerness, and childhood memories that already feel like ghosts. There are no jump scares, no lurking monsters, only an overwhelming sense of melancholy that lingers like fog. It defies easy classification, standing apart from traditional science fiction or horror. Netflix adaptation of The Electric State takes Simon Stålenhag's haunting graphic novel and spins it into something much bigger and quite different. While the original book thrives on loneliness and strange dystopian vibes, the movie shifts gears, injecting adventure, humor, and a more mainstream appeal. Millie Bobby Brown stars as Michelle, a teenage girl who has lost her parents and brother, struggling to survive in a post-apocalyptic 90s where robots once fought humans for their rights. Stuck in a foster home, her world is upended when a robot named Cosmo appears, claiming to be operated by her supposedly dead brother. Determined to find him, Michelle embarks on a journey filled with discovery and danger. Though the premise remains heavy, the film leans into a more playful, adventurous tone. Packed with humor, charm, and a star-studded cast, it transforms the quiet, dark journey of the book into something more energetic and accessible. This shift marks the film's most significant departure. Where the novel is quiet and filled with loneliness, the movie embraces action and engagement. Honestly, a straight adaptation of The Electric State was never going to happen. The original book is more about mood than plot, a series of haunting images accompanied by sparse text that offers only glimpses of a larger world. At New York Comic Con, Anthony Russo explained, "The novel is kind of hard to understand. You get it in glimpses. You can tell there's a much larger world behind what he's telling you in the graphic novel that you can only guess at." So the Russo brothers built that world from the ground up. Instead of a quiet journey, the film introduces a full-scale plot, complete with a corrupt corporation, a society under mass mind control, and deeper existential questions about humanity. It expands Stålenhag's world, making it grander and more complex. This decision may not sit well with fans of the book's mysterious minimalism, but it allows the movie to stand as a self-contained narrative. The biggest shift in The Electric State isn't the plot, it's the tone. The book is quiet and somber, but the movie? It's not afraid to crack a joke. Chris Pratt's character, Keats, exists almost entirely to lighten the mood, even throwing out a line about liking a robot as more than a friend. And it's not just the humor, the film's whole aesthetic leans more playful. The robots look less creepy and more cartoonish, with one even taking the form of Mr. Peanut, the Planters mascot. That kind of creative choice not only explains why this became Netflix's priciest film to date, but it also marks a huge departure from the book's bleak, post-apocalyptic atmosphere. The Russo brothers clearly used Stalinhag's world as a launchpad, but they built something entirely their own, infusing it with humor, spectacle, and a surprisingly hopeful ending. For fans of the graphic novel, that shift might feel like whiplash. The book lingers on isolation and quiet despair, while the movie turns those ideas into something bigger, louder, and at times even fun. Whether that's an improvement or a misstep, that depends on what you were expecting. That contrast between past and future is key to its appeal. The world created in the movie feels both familiar and strange, exactly what the Russo brothers wanted. It's a version of the past that never actually happened, where 80s and 90s America meets advanced technology. The movie leans into nostalgia with old-school robot designs, classic songs, and pop culture nods. But it also nudges just far enough into science fiction to make you think about where we're headed. Take the Neurocasters. These devices let people escape into custom-made realities, making real-life connections feel more filtered and artificial. Sound familiar? It's not hard to see the link to our own world, where so much of life already happens through screens. Then there's Cosmo, the lovable robot sidekick. In the film, robots show emotions, form bonds, and even make moral choices. So at what point do they deserve the same rights and respect as humans? It's a big idea, and one that's getting less like science fiction every day. But beneath the adventure and spectacle, the Electric State is a reflection of humans. The deeper you look, the more unsettling its message becomes. A dark message for humanity. Anthony Russo pointed out something interesting. The movie isn't just about robots, it's about us. The film reflects how our relationship with technology has changed since the 90s. AI isn't just a tool anymore. It's learning, adapting, and even seeming to feel. And that raises a big question. When does a machine stop being just a machine? The movie doesn't hand out easy answers, but it makes you think. If something can make choices, learn, and even suffer, do we owe it anything? The Electric State shows a world where people still rely on machines, even after a robot uprising. Whether it's Neurocasters or robot sidekicks, technology is so woven into daily life that there's no going back, and that's what makes it so unsettling. It's not just science fiction, it's a reflection of our own world. We trust AI to manage our schedules, recommend what we watch, and even shape our opinions. You see, the film isn't just about a dystopian future. It's a reminder that we're already living in a version of it. Ethan Skate, played by Stanley Tucci, is the perfect example of how easy it is to get lost in the world you create. A tech genius with big ideas, he starts off with good intentions, but slowly becomes trapped in the very fantasy he built. As Anthony Russo put it, he's living a fantasy of what human connection is, as opposed to what it means in his actual life with the people around him. It's a cautionary tale we see playing out in real time. Just look at the way digital spaces and OMTA-driven communities are shaping our world today. Then there's the exclusion zone, a seemingly science fiction concept where robots are banished after their failed rebellion. But take a closer look, and the parallels to real history are hard to ignore. Societies have always isolated those they fear or don't understand, pushing them into designated spaces under the guise of safety or control. The exclusion zone feels similar to Native American reservations, places framed as autonomous, but in reality, tools of displacement that strip people of their homes, resources, and freedom. Even more directly, it mirrors the Japanese-American internment camps of the Second World War, where an entire population was locked away not because of anything they did, but because of fear and prejudice. That same pattern of fear-driven exclusion plays out in the film. In the Electric State, robots go from trusted companions to exiled enemies overnight. They aren't judged by their actions, only by what they are. And that's where the movie's deeper message comes through. History has a way of repeating itself, just with different targets. The exclusion zone and the real-world events it echoes show the same tragic pattern when societies choose fear over understanding, control over coexistence. As Anthony Russo put it, you can find humanity in technology, and you can find inhumanity in humans. That idea sits at the heart of the Electric State. It's less about a sci-fi future and more about how easily we repeat the same mistakes, isolating instead of integrating, forgetting our shared humanity along the way. Ironically, the film's warning about tech dependency is brought to life using some of the most advanced filmmaking technology out there. The Russo brothers blended CGI, motion capture, and practical effects to make the world feel real and lived in. One of the coolest details? Every robot in the film was designed to match a specific decade. We would pick a decade for every robot that we used in the movie, Russo explained, and we would try to be mechanically faithful as much as we could to that period. That choice gives the robots a familiar, almost nostalgic feel, like they belong to our history, not just a made-up future. And they didn't stop at digital effects. The team actually partnered with UCLA's robotics lab to build a real-life version of Cosmo. While the movie uses CGI to bring him to life, a physical Cosmo has made appearances at screenings and events, turning fiction into reality in a way that's both exciting and a little eerie. At its heart, The Electric State is about connection between siblings, friends, and even humans and machines. But it also delivers a warning. Technology can bring us together, but it can just as easily push us apart, trapping us behind digital walls instead of breaking them down. The film raises a big question. If AI one day deserves the same rights as us, what do we do with that power? Do we use technology to connect or to control? We're already on the edge of a world filled with AI and machines that can think faster than we can. What once felt like sci-fi is starting to look like reality. And if The Electric State has one message, it's this. No matter how advanced our technology gets, it's up to us to make sure our humanity stays at the center of it all. You see, reality is catching up to science fiction, and The Electric State feels less like a warning and more like a mirror. Have we already surrendered to AI? What if The Electric State wasn't a dystopian fantasy, but a preview of where we're headed? The technology shaping our future is already pulling us in that direction. And the scariest part is that we may not realize it until it's too late. War used to be fought by humans, soldiers on the ground, generals making decisions, governments negotiating behind closed doors. That's changing. The Pentagon and private military contractors are developing AI-powered weapons that no longer need human oversight. The X-47B drone, for example, can take off, complete a mission, and land all without a pilot. AI-driven defense systems like Israel's Harpy can identify and attack targets without waiting for permission. The United States military is actively testing robotic war dogs armed with automatic rifles. Cyber warfare, once the work of hackers, is now automated, capable of launching digital attacks faster than any human ever could. Military experts warn that once AI starts making battlefield decisions faster than people can react, war itself could spiral out of control. If an AI defense system misidentifies a threat and retaliates without human intervention, will there be time to stop it? When drones and robotic soldiers act independently, who takes responsibility when something goes wrong? The more control we hand over, the harder it will be to take it back. But war isn't the only thing slipping out of our hands. The way we perceive reality is changing, and AI is at the center of it. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is pouring billions into virtual and augmented reality, building a digital space where people can work, socialize, and escape the real world entirely. AI-generated influencers like Lil Miquela already have millions of followers who engage with them as if they were real people. Deep fake technology is so advanced that videos of politicians, celebrities, and everyday people can be manipulated to say and do things they never did. In 2023, a deep fake of President Zelensky telling Ukrainian troops to surrender briefly spread across social media. If that level of deception is already possible, what happens when AI-generated realities become indistinguishable from the truth? The Electric State presents a world where people willingly plug into illusion-trapping devices, losing themselves in fabricated experiences. That might sound extreme, but how different is it from today? TikTok and YouTube algorithms already control what people see, pushing content designed to hold attention rather than inform. Instagram filters alter faces until they no longer resemble real people. AI-generated chatbots offer companionship to the lonely, responding with human-like empathy. The deeper we immerse ourselves in AI-curated worlds, the harder it becomes to tell where reality ends and the machine begins. It's not just entertainment. AI is replacing human decision-making in nearly every aspect of life. It's writing articles, composing music, and creating art that rivals human-made work. Companies use AI to decide who gets hired, who gets approved for loans, and even who should be granted parole. Algorithms predict what people want before they know it themselves. What show they'll binge next, which product they'll buy, what political belief they're most likely to adopt. The more data AI gathers, the better it understands people, sometimes better than they understand themselves. The Electric State shows a world where humanity surrenders to technology, not through force, but through quiet, willing acceptance. People stop questioning, stop resisting, and let AI guide them because it's easier than thinking for themselves. The unsettling question isn't whether that future is coming, it's whether we've already stepped into it. What do you think? Are we heading toward a world where technology connects us or controls us? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and don't let the future catch you off guard.